Hey D, I'm Nate Berkus.
I'm Jeremiah Brent.
And we would like to invite you into our house again.
You've
already been here.
We're back!
Yeah, but it looks a little bit different. Come check it out.
Take a look.
So this is the entry of our home, and what's different about it from when we lived here the first time is the floor and the railing. But the floor always drove us crazy. It was never the floor that we would have picked. This is the floor we always wanted. It's antique Spanish concrete tiles. I think they're 200 years old.
And I think this room really set the tone for what we're trying to execute throughout the house, which is this real interest in contrast and bringing in things that feel really elevated in execution, but in practicality, they're actually really durable. I love this space. It feels formal, but then we put just a great stone table in here and some branches and a glass chair, and all of a sudden, it feels like you could be anywhere.
But the glass chair and the sconce above it, there was no lighting on that wall before. That is sort of the invitation to what you're about to see, how our styles came together, how it mixes from very traditional to super, super modern.
I think the 4 years where we kind of got our feet wet and started to play around and experiment with different stuff, but we're really proud of what we executed in the formal living room.
This is the formal living room.
Which, by the way, nothing in our life is formal.
No, and so the children are welcome here. Sometimes we'll have drinks in here when we have friends over, and then we'll go into the dining room.
Nate and I usually are up here talking about the day at the end of the day. If you guys can see, the style is a little bit more contemporary in here. We had a lot of fun blending the 30s and 40s and 50s from France to Europe. And I think what we wanted this room to feel was really comfortable, but also a space where we could entertain and have 20 people in if we wanted. The pottery up on the mantle is one of my favorite things. And
what about the Le Corbusier light that you put up there? The mantle is my all-time favorite moment, and this room is filled with some heavy hitters. There's Jean-Michel Frank, René Preux, there's Giacometti, amazing vintage Italian lighting. We really were very careful about each choice of what went into the space. And one major change, which I think was well worth the energy, was taking out the windows that used to be here and putting in French doors, so you can access the terrace from this room as well as the dining room next door. The dining room was very formal when we lived here before. It was a big rectangular table right down the center of the room with chairs around it. We actually found that we spent so much time there. But in the townhouse, we had this little built-in area with a bench, and Jeremiah was like, why don't we make that again?
We spend so much time in the dining room. It's where homework happens. It's where breakfast and dinner. We always have a ceremony around every meal in this house. And so the idea with the new dining room is to create something that felt bright and happy. We flanked this banquette with some beautiful shelving that we could display silver and dishes and things that we've collected. We like to see the things, we like to display them. They all matter to us. We don't have things that are around here that we don't use. And so it just kind of felt a little bit more casual. The thing that made this house home has always been the kitchen. I have always fantasized about cooking and entertaining in this house for our children, for family. And so when we came back, it was all about bringing the light back into the space.
It used to be black. It had butcher block counters. The only stone was just here on the island. But we wanted the whole kitchen to feel bright, airy, and really chalky.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah, I got to work with Camp, who came in to create these really heavy textured plaster walls for us, so it felt old and something a little bit more historic. But this room, again, is all about the balance of new and old. Everything in here you would think is really precious, but it's not. We like stains on the marble. People always ask why we accessorize the kitchen the way we do, and it's because we live here. We like lamps, we like art hung. This space always makes me happy when I walk in the morning and when I leave at night with a cup of tea.
And if design doesn't work out for you someday, you could always be like a barista with that machine that you had to have.
It was worth it.
This is the family room. This is where we watch TV at night. This is where we hang out when we entertain. Actually, people come down here and it's really, really nice. The funny thing to me about this family room is that we designed and drew these bookshelves and had them put in. They were painted by the people that bought the apartment a dark navy, and we painted them back to a light color because even though this is our kind of family space and cozy space, We really like it bright.
This space, actually, I was really excited about creating because there's a little bit of a nod to my obsession with Halston's decor, which was all really monochromatic and as close to that weird interior as I can get. Everything in here is this mud brown color. The sectional, which I was obsessed with getting from B&B Italia, it was the thing that really drove the entire space because we wanted you to walk in and just feel like you could sit anywhere at any time. The space is really just about coming down and being together and being comfortable.
Also, the rug from Mark Phillips is a very similar muddy brown color. It's mohair. It's incredibly soft. This round of this interior at this house has become decidedly more minimal and modern than we've ever lived, but the shelves are not. So one thing that was important to us in our bedroom was to not do wall covering at all.
Yeah, exactly. And no color.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect example of how much we have evolved as a couple, especially aesthetically.
To live in the city and open your eyes first thing in the morning and just be sort of in this moody, cool forest feels really right.
The space feels really comfortable. The wallpaper reads probably traditional to most people, but we've juxtaposed that with a lot of contemporary lighting, some contemporary furniture. There's a really great Swedish chair that we have from the 30s that's in this great shearling that we love.
Our palette has shifted as time goes on. Obviously, the children were one of the biggest influences in incorporating color and things like that. But, we would have never designed a room like this 8 years ago.
No, but I think, the entire exercise of this house was how can we create something that feels unique, something that we haven't done before, and again, timeless, and something that can transition with us. And we're really proud with where we've landed. We have two very different design styles, but we found something together that really feels like the truest extension of our style together. And I'm really excited about it. This space is the perfect representation of that. So the last time that we were standing with you guys in this spot, we were holding our brand new little girl. So much of this process throughout was just feeling like we were coming back home and fitting back into our life, but our life through a different lens. Some things have changed, little updates, new carpeting, new paint.
Lighting.
My shopping issue has not changed.
I still have shoes older than our children, by the way.
Older than me.
Yeah. Do I?
Yeah.
No, there's no way, babe.
I did get rid of all of his ironic sneakers that we talked about the last time we were here. Remember the yellow ones you had?
Yeah, I do. We didn't change that much in our bathroom.
No, but one of the things that I love the most about our original design was you walk through the dressing room and then you're in our primary bath.
The main things, if it's not broken, you don't need to spend money to fix it. So the floor's the same, the stone's the same, the waterworks fixtures are the same, all the shower fixtures are the same, and the shampoo's in the same spot, guys. That's so thrilling. I know. So this is probably our favorite floor of the house, right?
Arguably our favorite floor.
Yeah, so this is what we added. We had everything before, it looked very different, but the kids' floor, which is where we are now, is sort of where they want to be.
As you can see, it's all about color and playfulness and comfort, which are not normally the three things that Nate and I use to describe our own personal style.
It's not quite our design philosophy, but here we are. A couple of call outs too. The mobile that Julia Condon gave to Poppy when she was born.
Another really important call out is Poppy's Barbie house, which she redecorates constantly. The other thing that is really important to us is the sign that's in the center of the room, which says, "My heart loves your heart," which is something we say to the kids every night. We have really changed so much, and they have pushed us to use color more throughout the house, to use texture more, to have a little bit more fun with things. And that was something I never expected, because we haven't pushed each other to do that, but our children have pushed us to do it.
Especially our daughter. We should show them Poppy's room.
Yeah. This is her big girl grown-up room.
What's wrong with us, by the way? 4 tours and she's 7 years old.
I think we're sharers. That's how I would categorize it. This was a blast, this room, because we didn't really have much to do in it. We told each other that with both spaces with the kids that they had complete freedom to do what they wanted. We tried to curate their choices, but even that didn't go so far. Poppy would pull in her own things, and this room is an exercise, and I think in her creativity and her sophistication.
Remember, she was very definitive about everything. She knew we probably had 25 wallpapers that we put in front of her, And she was like, I want this one. And this is what's here. So one thing that I think is really successful in the room is that the bed is floating. And we did that on purpose instead of putting it against the wall. And we found this really cool vintage screen, and Poppy picked the pinstripe fabric that went on it. But what we wanted to do is create zones in this one room. And now we're in the zone where you can see the chalet and all the animals and like all of her stuff. But she hangs out back here when she needs space from her brother. But when you look into the room from the stairs, you see like the beautiful bed and the beautiful everything.
The kids are really proud of their rooms and they love them. They're down here constantly. We're excited that we were able to give them each a space that feels like a reflection of them. Oscar, on the other hand, is a much different vibe than Poppy. So if I remember correctly, there were two very specific things that Oscar had asked for in his room. He wanted the same wallpaper that he had in his previous bedroom, and he wanted Legos, lots and lots of Legos. And one of the reasons that we chose this really great durable carpet in his room, because we knew what was gonna happen. There was gonna be toys and Legos and building blocks and everything all over the place. But again, the thing about Oscar is he is so alive and fun and happy and joyful, and that's what this space reflects to us. Okay. One thing that I really am proud of with what we've done with the children's rooms is they feel really playful. There is a level of sophistication, and I think the reason we've been able to execute that is because we bring in vintage pieces. Even the lighting in here are things and lamps that we've had, that we've collected over the years, but when you put them in this type of atmosphere, it elevates it to a degree, but it doesn't feel too serious.
He likes his sheets, he likes all the little animals,
Yeah.
He likes all of his little friends around here. Most importantly though is access to his Legos and his magnet tiles and his trucks.
Yeah.
I will say this though, babe. When do you think he's actually going to listen to us and stop taking Legos apart with his teeth?
Never. Thank you guys so much for coming by and checking out our house. I can't tell you how happy we are to be home.
Get out, guys.
No, not
Yes.
get out.
Yep.
We appreciate
Goodbye.
you.
We
We'll
do.
see you soon.
We do.
Thank
But
you.
See you later.
Take care.